It's time for your Low Country real estate market update. It's the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show. Brian is one of the top 1% real estate agents in Charleston. Find him online at listingsincharleston.com. That's listingsincharleston.com. Or call him at 843-345-1273. Now, broadcasting from the WTMA studios, here's your host, Brian Beatty.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show here on the Big Talker 1250 WTMA. We've got a lot of ground to cover this morning and as always, helpful information designed to keep you informed with current trends within the housing market, as well as help educate you on the process of buying, selling, and investing in real estate. So this week, I'm going to share with you the absolute nightmare that I'm living through regarding one of my rental properties and share some lessons that I've learned from my several years of being an investor with income-producing properties, hiring property managers, and what you need to know if you're going to hire a property manager. I'm also going to talk about the difference between hiring a single agent versus hiring a real estate team. You know, forming a real estate team is one of the hottest trends in real estate right now. And so I want to help you determine whether it's better for you to hire an individual agent or hire a real estate team, depending upon whether you're buying, selling, or investing in real estate. And then finally, I'm going to share with you a fairly substantial market update now that we've had 5 solid months of reporting sales, which can be compared to this time last year. Now, if this is your first time tuning into this show, my name is Brian Beatty. I've been on this program for 5 years. I've been selling real estate for 12 here in Charleston. I come from a real estate family that's been selling real estate and developing real estate for about 60 years. And my team and I have represented about 1,000 buyers and sellers, totaling about $500 million in local real estate volume. So I take my experience and knowledge of the market and I share them with you so that you can become a more informed consumer when it comes time for you to call a new place home or invest in real estate. So if you'd like to reach out to me, if you're thinking about buying, selling, or investing in real estate, of course, aside from this show, we're selling real estate Monday through Sunday. So feel free to reach out to me. My cell phone number is 843-345-1273. Again, 843-345-1273. I receive a lot of calls, usually early in the week after folks listen to the show on the weekend with just general knowledge questions, and I welcome those phone calls. If you have questions about how to handle a potential situation, or maybe you're a year away from buying, selling, or investing in real estate, but you just want to talk through the motions, you want to get a game plan together, or perhaps you're ready to buy, sell, or invest in real estate right now, give me a call, 843-345-1273, or text that number. We'd love to earn your business. Or, of course, you can go to my website, listingsincharleston.com. That's listingsincharleston.com. Learn more about myself and my team, who we are, what we do, what we sell, how we market our properties for sale. All of our radio shows are on there. Search the MLS and much, much more. listingsincharleston.com. So I'm going to entitle this segment Nightmare on St. Philip Street instead of Nightmare on Elm Street. And so here's basically what happened. I had some tenants in a duplex that I bought back in 2012 and did an extensive renovation on it. I got the world's best deal on the purchase of the property, and then I invested about $300,000 to fix it up. And it's a duplex now. So I've got the front unit and I've got the back unit. Well, tenants in the front unit absolutely destroyed my property. Anything that you could have done as a tenant to screw up a house, they basically did. And then they tried to fix it and they made matters worse. I mean, these are a bunch of college kids and my property manager vetted them. They got parents to co-sign on the lease. I have some recourse here. But they just did an incredible amount of damage, way more than what their security deposit is for. And their security deposit was almost $4,000. So we're talking about a significant amount of damage. And so not only are we going to be keeping their security deposit, we're also going to be sending them a bill for all the work that I've had to do to prepare this property to be rented again. And if they don't agree to pay it, then you take them to small claims court, you get a judgment, and you seek remedies outside of court after they agree that the tenant is liable, which they will be liable. And so without getting into the specifics of my rental property and everything that they did to damage it, let me just tell you a little bit about hiring a property manager, because my rental units are overseen by property management companies. I do not do the work myself. I can make more money doing what I do on a day-to-day basis than the money I can save by managing my own rental properties. It is a classic opportunity cost of time approach for me. Plus, I don't want to deal with talking to a tenant for 30 minutes because the toilet's stopped up because they flushed something down the toilet they weren't supposed to flush down. I value my time too much for that. Now, when I hire a property manager, there are certain questions that I need to know the answers to, and I want to share those with you this morning. Now, I want to say something first, which is incredibly important when you start thinking about hiring a property manager. And that is this. And this is the most important thing that I can say in this particular segment. And that is that nobody, and I mean nobody, will ever manage your properties and be more concerned about the monthly cash flow than you. Where am I going with this? If you have to use property managers, spend as much, if not more, time screening them as you would a potential tenant. It never ceases to amaze me how most property managers always seem to have this ability to divert monthly cash flow to their own pockets. So don't assume anything with property managers, and you should be okay. So having said that, and look, there are a dime a dozen property managers out there, all with varying levels of skill. So the first thing that I always want to know is how many properties are they managing? And I follow that up with how many employees are managing these units. Very similar to real estate sales. What I found is that a trained employee with the right tools and proven processes, they can manage somewhere between 30 and 40 units, assuming they don't have to deal with the accounting portion of their job. So if you're getting a qualified property manager, they have no employees, and they currently manage 37 units, and you want to hand over 7 of your rental properties, how good do you think their service for your portfolio is actually going to be? The second thing that I want to know is, do they own any rental properties themselves? I mean, for me, this is a deal breaker, and here's why. Here's the way that I see it. If my property is vacant at the same time a property manager's property is vacant, I'm in constant competition with the managers and their properties. If the manager has a vacancy at the same time you do, how do you know that your property is going to be filled first? You don't. Now, I will say that, and this could have helped me in my situation, a critical component in managing both properties and tenants is getting into those properties on a routine basis. And so as part of your discussion with potential property managers, you want to get a commitment from them about how often they are going to conduct formal inspections of your properties. I recommend at least once per quarter. And in some cases, property managers will be very accommodating about this. However, if they balk at that requirement, or if they use it as a way to increase the fee they're going to be charging, I'm not very impressed by that. To me, conducting routine property inspections is not an extra. That is just part of the package of services that I'm paying for in return for handing my property over to you to take care of it, to fill it, to collect the rent, and to make sure that you're protecting my investment. I am very leery of those types of property managers. Now, and here's just a side note, and this applies really to all things in life, at least for me. So here's a little helpful tip, something that I hadn't really prepared for. But if during the discussion with your property manager, if you find that property manager is just constantly cutting you off or trying to finish your sentences, you're going to be in trouble if you hire them. Anytime you have an issue or question about your investment, you're going to get that same treatment. The best managers and the best people in business are those who know their clients are always looking for ways to make their clients happy. It's all about customer service, the customer experience. And think about it from this way too. If the tenant has an issue, yes, you want to create separation between yourself and the tenant, and that is done through a property management company. But if the property management company is rude to the tenant and they're not civil with them, they're not professional with them, and the tenant is just furious throughout the entirety of their lease, I'm telling you right now, that is going to translate to damage to your property. They don't care. They're irritated. They don't feel like they have any sort of representation. So it's important to be friendly. We're not necessarily there to be their friend. But you have to have a property manager that knows how to communicate with people, which is really what that all boils down to, is just communication. And that definitely impacts customer service. Now, most property managers, and here's another little tip for you, most property managers are going to charge somewhere between 7 and 10% of the rent for managing your property. Be sure that you know what that percentage is. Some managers might require that you pay them the agreed percentage of the total rents that could be collected rather than when they are actually collected. This is obviously a non-starter for me. I mean, it would be a cold day in hell before I'm going to pay somebody a management fee for rent they did not collect for a property that is vacant. I am not paying somebody 10% of perceived rent when there is no income being generated. That is a lack of performance on their end, and it is not my responsibility to pay for that. Neither should it be your responsibility to pay for that. So look for that in your property management agreements. And then the last thing that I'm going to help you guys understand here when you have a rental property, you want to turn it over to a property manager, is be sure that you know how a property manager is going to address maintenance issues. There are a variety of ways you as a property owner are going to pay for getting maintenance issues resolved. And you can expect that the property manager will want to make maintenance decisions for you up to a certain dollar amount. So if you look at your property management agreement, they're going to say that they have the autonomy to make repairs up to a certain amount before they ask for your permission. And that usually gets capped somewhere around $250. I never let it go above that. I'm not giving them $500 in leeway. I'm certainly not giving them $1,000 in leeway to just make repairs, because here's the deal. A lot of property managers are, in addition to charging you 10% for managing the property and for collecting rent, a lot of them actually throw on a 10% fee on top of the invoice for repairs in return for, quote unquote, managing the repairs. In my opinion, that's part of their job. The other challenge is this: if they have an in-house maintenance company, how do you know that the cost of those repairs are consistent with the fair market value of costs for those repairs? The last thing I want is to have my properties being consistently visited by a property manager's maintenance company for things that the tenant should be paying for, or for things that are just a simple fix. You know, I hire these property managers to take care of my investment properties, but if they're going to charge me $250 for something that I could have a handyman go over there and handle for $20, that's how you save money. That's how you protect your cash flow, which goes back to my very first statement. And I'm going to reiterate it again before we switch gears and talk about the difference between hiring a solo agent and hiring a real estate team. And that is this: nobody is going to be more concerned about the monthly cash flow of your investment property than you. You need to make sure that you are screening your property managers. And if you want a list of questions to ask a property management company, I'm happy to provide that for you. If you want, feel free to give me a call and I'll give you that list. If you're considering acquiring investment properties, I have multiple. I've spent my own money on these types of projects. I can guide you through that process, and I've done it about 100 times. My number is 843-345-1273. Again, that's 843-345-1273. Or visit my website, listingsincharleston.com. That's listingsincharleston.com. Stick around. We'll be right back with more of the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show here on the Big Talker 1250 WTMA.
Hear the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show every Saturday morning at 9 and each Sunday morning at 10 on 1250 WTMA and WTMA.com. 1250 WTMA. Now, here's more of the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show on the Big Talker 1250 WTMA.
Welcome back to the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show here on the Big Talker 1250 WTMA. Thanks for joining me this morning as we continue our discussion about real estate. If you're just joining us, I just had a conversation with the audience about my rental property, my issue, that I'm facing right now with a tenant that caused a significant amount of damage to one of my investment properties, and what you need to know and how you should proceed if you're going to hire a property management company to take care of one of your investments. So if you've missed that, you're welcome to go to listingsincharleston.com and send me a message, and I will send you that information, send you the questions you need to ask if you're going to hire a property management company and some things you need to think about. Or, of course, you can give me a call, 843-345-1273. Again, that's 843-345-1273. So I want to talk now about the difference between hiring a single agent or a solo agent and hiring a real estate team. And I figured I'd open this up with just, telling you a little story / joke. And so the story goes something like this. So early one morning, a broker and his two agents are walking on the beach, and they find an antique oil lamp. And so they rub it, and a genie comes out. And the genie says, all right, there's 3 of you, so I'm going to give each of you just one wish. And so the agent number 1 says, me first, me first. I want to be in the Bahamas. I want to be driving a speedboat without a care in the world. And poof, he's gone. And then agent number 2 says, hey, I'm next. I want to be in Hawaii. I want to be relaxing on the beach with my personal masseuse, an endless supply of pina coladas, and the love of my life. And so poof, she's gone. And so the genie looks at the broker and says, all right, you're the last one. You're up. And so the broker says, I want those 2 back in the office after lunch. And so the moral of the story is, and this is going to tie into our discussion, but the moral of the story is just because you're working with a team doesn't mean you're working with a business. And of course, the other moral of the story could be, always let the broker have the first say. But, starting a real estate team seems to be one of the hottest trends in real estate right now. And my brokerage, Keller Williams Realty, is the largest brokerage in the world. We have over 170,000 agents worldwide, and we are the industry leader across all boards in the number of homes sold per year and total real estate volume sold per year. I mean, we have more top producing agents than any other company in the world. So let me just give you maybe a little bit of background on myself and why I decided to start a team, and why, in my opinion, it makes more sense to hire a team than it does to hire a single agent. And to make it fair, I'm obviously going to point out some weaknesses I've seen in other teams that you should be aware of. Now, I've been selling real estate for 12 years. And for the first 6 years of my career, I was a solo agent. I got to the point where I was selling close to 70 homes a year by myself. And in 2011, I remember this. I still have it written down. I worked 356 days out of 365. So for those of you that aren't great at math, that's a total of 9 days off. Just 9. Now, I had a huge goal for the year, not just to make more money than any other year previously in real estate sales, but I wanted to buy a house in Mount Pleasant for my wife and I wanted to have enough money for a 50% down payment. Well, we ended up getting a great deal on a short sale. We put down 20%, and we used the rest of the money to do a pretty massive renovation on the home, which we did. And so I accomplished my goal, and my wife and I were ecstatic, but I was exhausted. There were days where I literally felt like an absolute zombie. And looking back on it, my quality of work probably reflected my exhaustion. There was a better way of doing things. So I decided to go to Keller Williams Realty, which is really just a training company disguised as a real estate company. I mean, in 2017, last year, Keller Williams Realty was the #1 training organization across all industries, according to Training Magazine. And we are the #3 happiest place to work across all industries, all companies, according to Forbes. All right? Pretty good company to work at. So I started building a team. And each year as my business grew, I started adding some additional leverage. And so fast forward to today, and I am extremely proud about the fact that our team's going to do roughly 200 transactions this year. We're going to generate over $2 million in revenue for our team and the agents within it. And we've been able to accomplish this because I have made it my mission to run a business like a business. And so here's something interesting. Just side note, according to Merriam-Webster, the word team actually originated before the 12th century, and it meant 2 or more draft animals harnessed to the same vehicle. And then, of course, it was later expanded to mean 2 or more people associated together in work or activity. And so I'm telling you this because there is a huge difference between a collection of agents working together on a team and a business in the form of a real estate team. So if you're considering buying or selling or investing in real estate, you have some choices to make. Do you do all the work yourself without the help of a real estate agent? Wouldn't recommend that. Do you hire an individual agent or, a husband and wife team? Do you hire a team of real estate agents, or do you hire a business in the form of a real estate team? So when we come back, I'm going to help you weigh those pros and cons of each decision, hiring a solo agent or hiring a real estate team. So stick around. This is the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show right here on the Big Talker 1250 WTMA. And remember, if you want to reach out to me, you're thinking about buying, selling, or investing in real estate, my team and I would love the opportunity to earn your business. You can reach us at 843-345-1273. Again, that's 843-345-1273. Or go to listingsincharleston.com. That's listingsincharleston.com. Learn more about myself, my team, all the incentives we offer, the communication guarantee, easy exit guarantee, guaranteed sale program, lease buyout program, free pre-listing home inspection, free staging, amazing marketing. All of that's on listingsincharleston.com, and we welcome you to visit that site if you're considering hiring somebody to help you with your real estate needs. So stick around. We'll be right back.
More stimulating talk on real estate matters with Brian Beatty next on 1250 WTMA. 1250 WTMA. You're listening to the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show on the Big Talker, 1250 WTMA and WTMA.com.
Welcome back as the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show continues here on the Big Talker, 1250 WTMA. I'm Brian Beatty, and we're talking about, if you're just joining us, the difference between hiring an individual agent versus hiring a real estate team if you're considering buying, selling, or investing in real estate. And one of the most popular trends over the past couple of years in the real estate industry has been the emergence of real estate teams. Real estate teams are being formed left and right, it seems, on almost a daily basis. And it can range from, a couple agents joining forces to several dozen agents coming together to form a team. And in many cases, these real estate teams are being formed just as a method to boost sales numbers for the agents within the team. Forming a real estate team to inflate sales numbers in order to obtain more business, in my opinion, is not the right reason to form a real estate team. Forming a real estate team in order to improve the customer service and the customer experience is a great reason to form a real estate team. So if you're planning on buying or selling a home, it's extremely important that you understand who you're hiring to assist you with your real estate needs. Regardless of whether you're interviewing a realtor to sell your house or to assist you with buying a house, one of the questions that you must ask is whether that real estate agent is a solo agent or if they work on a team. And there are pros and cons to both. So let's go through some of those pros and cons. And if you want to reach out to me, if you don't have time to listen to this entire segment, and you'd like for me to help you weigh those pros and cons, let's have a conversation around that. My number is 843-345-1273. Again, it's 843-345-1273, or go to listingsincharleston.com. That's listingsincharleston.com. So let's weigh the pros of hiring a solo agent. And there are plenty of solo agents out there that are great at what they do. I mean, I'd like to classify myself as one of those agents before I decided to start a real estate team. And frankly, your experience with that agent is going to be a reflection of that agent's goals. I mean, if they're truly focused on providing the absolute best customer service, that's one thing. Or do they prefer to be a solo agent because they just want to keep all the commission in return for doing all the work themselves? I mean, in other words, are they transaction and income driven, or are they driven by the absolute best customer experience possible? And so some of the pros are, of course, that you're building a relationship with one person and one person only. And with that one person, you have full accountability. They can't pass on the blame when something goes wrong. I mean, outside of that and just their general level of experience, those are essentially the pros. The cons, the biggest con perhaps, is availability. It's impossible to be in two places at once. This is why I felt like I was continually banging my head against the ceiling, preventing me from growing as a business because I just couldn't do any more by myself. I had to get help. And so if a solo agent is showing properties to one of their clients, which usually takes a few hours, they can't drop what they're doing to show you the home of your dreams that just hit the market, which may mean you miss out on getting to view the home quickly enough before you can make an offer before someone else beats you to the punch. I mean, Gary Keller, just a little side note, Gary Keller is the co-founder of Keller Williams Realty, and he wrote a book called The One Thing, which essentially debunked the myth that multitasking is a good thing. The idea of multitasking as an acceptable way of getting multiple things done at once, it has become so mainstream that busy people have kind of bought into it without considering the effect on the results they're getting. And there's a ton of recent research that has shown that multitasking not only decreases the quality of the work being done, but it also slows us down because it's an issue of focus. So in addition to a con in working with a solo agent being availability, you're also going to see customer service be a challenge at times. Again, they can't get to you as quickly as a team of agents can. Then you have the issue of marketing and a marketing budget. When you hire a real estate team, the marketing budget usually looks a lot different. But you're going to be limited to what that individual agent can do for you, in addition to everything else they have to do to keep their business running. Okay, they're doing administrative tasks. They're doing paperwork. They're talking with clients. They're talking with agents. They're talking with new leads, trying to generate new business. They're negotiating contracts, showing properties, installing lockboxes, putting properties on the MLS. The list goes on and on and on. But really, one of the other cons is that you're limited to their own experience versus the collective experience of a real estate team. Now, if I were to list some of the cons of working with a real estate team, they would be that, just because a bunch of agents are working together doesn't mean you have hired a legitimate business. Agents that form teams and leverage the experience of the lead agent, which they refer to in the industry as a rainmaker, they use their reputation to basically get a foot in the door, and then you end up working with one of their junior agents. Now, full disclosure, the agents on my team sell way more real estate collectively than I do, but they are trained extremely, extremely well. And I consider my team to be, special forces. We are not the Army. We don't just hire anybody that wants to be in real estate. We hire rock stars only. And then we spend an exorbitant amount of time and energy and money to train them so that they are better than the experienced solo agents. So if you're going to hire a team and you end up getting matched up with a junior agent, you need to know what that agent's personal level of experience is. I will also say that systems and processes, which I am huge on, I'm a huge systems and processes guy, that is what creates an effective real estate team and business for that matter. Otherwise, you're just working with a group of, excited, experienced, and largely unorganized agents and support staff. We have more agents inquire about joining our team that are already working on other teams than we do, solo agents that contact us because of the lack of support they're getting, the lack of training they're getting, the lack of systems and business acumen within those real estate teams. I think another con at times could be accountability. Now, it's not just between you and your agent. You're also going to have the agent and some support staff. And if they're not trained properly, if there's no internal accountability within the team as it relates to standards of practice and performance, then you're kind of working with just this unorganized group of people with no direction, with no leader. We always say in our business, strength of the leader, strength of the pack. And I think all of this just boils down to customer service, which is just the net effect of everything else I've mentioned. If the owner of the team has this kind of revolving front door, meaning they hire a bunch of agents quickly, they do limited training, and then they end up firing them because they're not good enough, because they weren't trained well enough, and they kind of benefit from the short-term work that they did. And, they're formed simply to sell more real estate. You as the consumer are going to feel that. You may want to ask the person you're interviewing, and this is an interesting, concept here. If you're working with somebody that's on a team, ask them why they joined that team, and what makes that team unique. How long do the agents on the team stay on the team on average? I have some teams that I've been watching for a few years, and it seems like every month somebody is leaving that team. They're putting 2 people on the team, 1 person's leaving, and there's just this big revolving door of people that clearly aren't getting value, or they're making the wrong hire. I was said in a show a few weeks ago that you probably have a better chance of getting hired by a large corporate company than you do getting hired to be on my real estate team, because our vetting process is so involved. It takes time. We've got basically a 10-step process in order for you to get on my team. And then you've got a 30-day, 60-day, 90-day goal with training attached before we're going to release you into the wild to start selling real estate. People on my team are extremely well trained, and the experience that we create is a product of that. So again, going back to my point, just because you've hired a team of agents does not mean you have hired a legitimate business. Okay? So I'm going to take a quick break. When we come back, I'm going to talk about the benefits of hiring a real estate team, a very well-run, efficient, professional real estate team. What should you expect? What are some of the questions that you should ask? And what are the benefits? So stick around. This is the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show here on the Big Talker 1250 WTMA and WTMA.com. And of course, if you want to reach out to me, if you want to hire a real estate team, a good real estate team to help you with your real estate needs, we'd love to earn your business. My number is 843-345-1273. Again, that's 843-345-1273. Or go to listingsincharleston.com. That's listingsincharleston.com. Stick around. We'll be right back with more of the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show here on the Big Talker 1250 WTMA.
Have a real estate question? Ask Brian Beatty. Send him an email, lowcountryhomesales@gmail.com. The Brian Beatty Real Estate Show is on 1250 WTMA. 1250 WTMA. Now, the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show continues on Charleston's Big Talker, 1250 WTMA.
Welcome back to the last few minutes of the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show here on the Big Talker, 1250 WTMA. I always like to say thank you to those of you that listen to this program and draw information from it that you can use in your everyday life, whether it be to just increase your knowledge base as it relates to real estate and the process of buying, selling, and investing in real estate, or perhaps you're thinking of making a move here in the next few months or 12 months or so, and you want to put this information to practice. We'd love the opportunity to earn your business and have those conversations with you. Thanks again to those of you that reach out to us and trust us with your real estate business. We do appreciate that very much. We wouldn't be where we are without you guys. So feel free to reach out to me. It could be a general knowledge question, or of course, it could be to interview us to help you buy, sell, or invest in real estate. My number, my personal cell phone number is 843-345-1273. Again, that's 843-345-1273. Or you can find me online at listingsincharleston.com. That's listingsincharleston.com. And don't forget, if you're thinking about selling your house, we do offer the free pre-listing home inspection. We offer a free staging and design consultation. We do a massive amount of marketing. We sell about 200 homes a year, and about 30%, actually the number is 30%, of the homes that we list sell in a week or less. So for more information on that, listingsincharleston.com or 843-345-1273. So let's continue our discussion about the pros, the benefits of hiring a real estate team. And so, of course, one of those benefits is that you get more agents, more support, and more availability, and more of a collective experience of agents for the same cost. Another huge benefit is that you have a bigger marketing budget and more marketing efforts for the same cost. It's essentially strength in numbers. And the bottom line is this: when I'm talking with the seller, excuse me, when I'm talking with the seller about what we do to market our properties for sale, and we go through our list, A to Z, everything we do before it lists for sale, everything that we do while it's on the market and we're looking for a buyer, and then everything we do to continue marketing the property once we put your home under contract, what we can do with the people on my team is impossible to do if you are a single agent, even if you're working 24 hours a day. At any given point in time, we have about 50 different marketing campaigns running for our properties for sale. It's massive what we have accumulated in the form of knowledge and in the form of, testing our marketing plan to determine what works and what doesn't, what's fluff, what sounds good, and what creates results. And we are a results-based real estate team. We're not putting your home in the newspaper because buyers aren't looking there anymore. We can take that same amount of money and find 20 people that want to buy your home through a very targeted campaign designed to find buyers that we believe are looking specifically for a home like yours. So it's not just about the marketing budget and the increase in exposure. It's about the collaborative effort of a group of people that want you to have the best customer experience possible. You also have the ability, when you're working with a very well-oiled machine in the form of a real estate team, to focus on the customer experience as their big why. One thing that we do is we do personality matching. And I'm kind of peeling back the curtain here a little bit, but what I mean by that is if you might find an experienced solo agent that you'd consider hiring until you realize that you're just not a good personality match with them and the entire transaction is just going to be a struggle for you. On a real estate team, whether you realize it or not, we're going to assess your personality type before we ever meet face to face, and we're going to put you in touch with the person on our team that is naturally designed to work with you best. A lot of people probably don't realize that that's what we're doing behind the scenes, but that's the high level, service that we want to provide. Some people are much more geared toward, the engineer than they are the artist. And it makes sense that you work with somebody that you enjoy working with, that of course has the experience and the capacity to get you what you want, to accomplish your real estate goal. I'll tell you another huge benefit of working with a team is single agency. And so what I mean by that is, let's say that you hire somebody to sell your house and they're a solo agent, and an unrepresented buyer comes up to them and they say, "Hey, I want to buy this house." That listing agent is now acting as a dual agent. They have an equal level of responsibility and fiduciary duties to both you, the seller, and you, the buyer. That agent can no longer represent one party over the other. They can't tell you, the seller, how much the buyer is willing to pay, nor can they tell the buyer how low you're willing to go on your price. They can't use information against either party. In single agency, when we work on a team, we do everything we can to get information on the other party so we can use it against them in negotiations. This is a battle. It's a very friendly battle. We try to keep it that way. Most people don't know that we're battling them, but we want the better end of the deal, right? Of course. So that means extrapolating information from them that they might not even know they're giving us. We do that through intelligent questions and our interaction with the other agent or their client or whatever. And then we use that information to formulate a game plan when it comes time to negotiate, to use that as leverage against them to get you a better deal. What I just said is in no way, shape, or form unethical. It is simply what experienced negotiators do. And I hope you agree with me on that. But the benefit of the team is that if a buyer approaches me about a listing that I have, I'm going to direct them to a buyer agent on my team. That way, I get to fully represent my seller, and the buyer agent gets to fully represent the buyer, and there is no conflict of interest. There is no serving two masters. There is no diminished ability to get the best deal possible for my client. Another huge benefit of hiring a real estate team that's a very well-oiled machine, that's a business in the form of a real estate team, I'm going to keep saying that so that sticks for you guys, are money-saving strategies. As a large team, I have preferred vendors that we send the majority of our business to, which represent the best of the best when it comes to things like inspectors and attorneys and contractors and lenders and stagers, photographers, so on and so forth. When you do a lot of business, when you've done 1,000 transactions in the market, you form relationships and you find out who is the best. You as the client deserve the best. If an agent's just gotten into the business, they have to go through that process. They have to determine who is reliable, who is giving the best rate, who is going to go above and beyond for their clients? Who's going to be available? Who has a great level of customer service? All these things tie into the overall experience for you as a client. And with a real estate team, especially one that's been around for a long time, that's done a lot of business, they have access to those people, those vendors, those partners that are going to make your life easier. We also have a bunch of guarantees, which several teams do. Ours are a little bit different. Every team does things a little bit differently. But on my team, we offer multiple incentives and guarantees that other teams or solo agents either simply can't afford to do, or they just don't have the relationships or the bandwidth to be able to offer these kinds of incentives. And so those are things like my communication guarantee, stating that I will be in touch with you at least once per week from the time we list until the time we close. And if I don't, you can fire me at no cost, no obligation, no questions asked. And that just helps you understand that when you hire me, you might be impressed by, our experience and what we do to market properties, but this right here holds my feet to the fire so that you understand I'm going to do what I say I'm going to do, because if I don't, I lose the job and I'm out the investment of time and money that I've put into marketing your property because I didn't stay in touch with you. And I do that because communication is the number one reason why sellers and agents choose to cancel their relationship with one another. There is a lack of communication, a lack of customer service. Sellers just, should never have to feel like, hey, what the heck is going on with my house? They should be getting consistent, usable information that can be applied to them to help them sell their home for more money in a faster amount of time with the least amount of stress. We have the easy exit guarantee. We have the home sale guarantee. I work with a group of investors that want to buy 1,000 houses this year, nationwide. And this is not offering you 40 cents on the dollar. It's 12 to 15% off of fair market value, just so you know. That's the going rate. And it's a 10-day cash close. It's pretty good. If you need to sell your home now and you want to avoid that wholesale price, call me up. We have people that want to buy properties and they're only doing it for 12 to 15% off. That's really not that much in the grand scheme of things, especially from an investor, because they're going after volume. They're not going after home run opportunities only. We also have a lease buyout program. If you're stuck in a lease and you want to buy a new construction home, we'll buy you out of your lease to help you purchase that new construction property. Or if you want to keep your home and buy a new construction property, we will give you a guaranteed 6-year lease, meaning every month, regardless of whether it is rented or not, you're getting a guaranteed rent check. And then, of course, we've got the pre-listing home inspection, free staging consultation, vendor discounts, all these things. And when you hire a real estate team, you need to be asking questions like, what do you offer that's outside of the ordinary? What are you going to do differently for me than all these other people that want to help me sell my house, that say that they're the best? It's amazing how many agents are the number one agent. There are, I'm sure, agents that claim to be number one if they're selling properties on a Tuesday while it's raining between 60 and 75 degrees outside. It's crazy how these agents are analyzing their business to determine how in the world they're number one, which is a subjective number anyways. But anyways, the last thing that is a huge benefit to working with a real estate team, which is something you really need to understand and be privy to, are off-market opportunities. So because of the massive amount of business we do annually, and because we've been doing this for over 12 years, we have a database of literally 240,000 people, literally. When we take on a new listing, in addition to everything else we do, we pitch that listing to our database. And as I mentioned, last show and kind of earlier on in this show, 30% of all of our listings sell in 7 days or less. So we have this long list of people that want to buy and are just waiting for the right house to hit the market. And we have a long list of sellers that will sell their home, and they either don't want it on the market actively, they don't actively want it on the MLS, or they're just getting their home ready to sell, and it'll be hitting the market in the next few days, weeks, or months, depending upon what all needs to be done to the property to prepare it for sale. But we call this shadow inventory. And it's a huge benefit to working with a real estate team because we have access to deals the general public just doesn't know about. And of course, we reserve access to that to our clients only. We don't just give that information away. You have to work with our real estate team to know what we know and to have access to those special opportunities. So if that's something you're interested in, you want to hire a real estate team, a business run like a business in the form of a real estate team, give me a call. 843-345-1273. Again, that's 843-345-1273. Or go to listingsincharleston.com. That's listingsincharleston.com. Enjoy your weekend, and thanks for listening to the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show on the Big Talker 1250 WTMA.
Join us for another edition of the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show next Saturday morning at 9 and Sunday morning at 10. Contact Brian Beatty online at listingsincharleston.com. That's listingsincharleston.com. Or call him at 843-345.